Good morning and welcome to the Commission's administrative meeting for July 28th, 2021. I'd like to begin by announcement of a staff departure, and that is Leslie Romine. She is our Chief Counsel in the Division of Staff Counsel. Effective on August 1st, Leslie is going to be moving on to a new chapter in her life as she retires after 13 years of service to the Commission and almost 20 years of service to the state of Maryland. Back in October of 2008, Leslie joined us at the Commission as the Deputy Staff Counsel and was quickly promoted in 2011 to her current position as our Chief. Prior to joining the Commission, Leslie worked both as an Assistant Attorney General, where she specialized in tax issues, and as a partner at the law firm of Linnaeus and Blocher, where she specialized in real estate transaction law. During her career here at the PSC, she worked on many of the very complex and seminal cases that we've been discussing throughout our tenures here. And she leaves us with a lasting impression of dedication and her outstanding commitment to work as an attorney here at the Commission. She will, I know, be sorely missed by her friends and her colleagues at the PSC. So I would just like to wish her a fond farewell and congratulate Leslie as she moves forward and embarks on the next chapter in her life. Congratulations, Leslie. With that, we will turn to today's docket, and we'll begin with the consent agenda. Oh, actually, Mr. Secretary, I forgot the meeting minutes from the meeting of July 21st, 2021. We'll begin with approval of those minutes by Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
And I note that Commissioner O'Donnell was not participating in the last meeting. I vote aye. The meeting minutes are approved. Good morning, Mr. Secretary.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. There are 11 items on today's consent agenda. Items 1 through 8 are revised tariff pages regarding 8YY access charge reform from Envoy LLC, CTC Communications Corp., DBA Earthlink Business, Eris Inc., Peerless Network of Maryland LLC, Intrado Communications LLC, AT&T Corp., Teleport Communications America LLC, and Wide Voice LLC. Item 9 items 9 and 10 are requests for certification of renewable energy facilities from Wabash Valley Power Association, Inc. And item number 11 is a notice from Atlantic Energy Maryland LLC of change in ownership. Mr. Chairman, also, it's my understanding that staff would like to make a verbal amendment to its recommendations on items 1 through 8.
Thank you. Good morning, staff.
Ben, you're on mute.
My apologies. So good morning, Benjamin Baker on behalf of staff. The 8 telecom companies, we have to revise our recommendation. They had various effective dates from July 1st to July 31st, but we had grouped them under one recommendation. So the recommendation that we are making is to be amended is to be effective on the date stated in the filing. So staff recommends that the Commission accept the proposed tariffs for Envoy LLC, CTC Communications Corp., DBA Earthlink Business, Eris Inc., Peerless Network of Maryland LLC, Intrado Communications LLC, AT&T Corp., Telecommunications America LLC, and Wide Voice LLC for filing effective on the date stated in the filings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Do the commissioners have questions on these consent agenda items? Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope everybody can hear me okay. My question, even though I acknowledge that the change in the effective date recommendation from staff still persists in my mind. And so items 5 through 8 on these telecom tariffs have an effective date in their transmittals of 7/31. So those I don't have a question about because it's the effective date is prospective, not retroactive. But the other four, items 1 through 4 are retroactive effective dates. 1 and 2 are July 1st. Number 3 and number 4 were not specific in their transmittal letter, although the tariff red line did show an effective date of June 16th. So that's even further retroactive. And so my question becomes, on those retroactive effective dates, how does that affect the billing cycle of these telecom companies?
I should note that these won't be negative to customers because either these tariff changes are reductions or these tariff changes are just duplicating the same charge but bifurcating it between an 8YY charge and a non-8YY charge. And they're also, the dates effective are, well, the dates that the companies need to start billing these charges had to either be July 1st or July 31st, according to FCC rules. So whether we approve them by a date certain or not, they would have had to start billing those customers at those new rates. In terms of how it would technically work, we do have one of the company's consultants. He's representing 4 of the items on the admin today, Kerry Rosenell. And he can also speak to, I guess, technically what would happen if they needed to do any sort of difference in their billing. But in terms of its impact to customers, either customers are going to receive a reduction or it's going to be neutral in what the customers would be billed.
Does the company have anything to add?
Yeah, this is Kerry Rosell. I can speak on behalf of particularly Envoy, Wide Voice, and Entrado, that we prepared those filings. I've been working with those companies for a long time, and we've been actually talking throughout this whole process about the effective dates. So I know I was actually on the phone even this morning about getting the rate information finalized for the companies. They're doing billing coming up for the month of July. So they're all prepared to implement the 8YY query reductions effective July 1. So they're going to be billing, in arrears for this usage, and they're all prepared to make those changes with the July 1 effective date.
And items 3 and 4 for Eris and Peerless Network show an effective date of June 16th in the tariff red line. But Mr. Baker, I think I understood you to say by FCC ruling, they had to have an effective date of July 1st. Help me square the difference in those two dates.
I would have to check on that, but I think the FCC rules are that by July 1st, the ILECs, so Verizon, would have to have their rates in effect. And then within 15 days from that, all the CLECs were supposed to have filed with the FCC to update their rates to be effective on July 31st. And so Eris and Peerless, they might have been doing their rate. Some of the companies showed up earlier than others to revise their rates, but I should note that those companies also filed their tariffs on June, I think, 14th with us. So we wouldn't have even been able to do our review in time for those stated effective dates, even if we had wanted to.
Is it possible that it's an effective date no later than July 1st or no later than July 31st? Could that?
That would work.
My question. Okay. Well, in as much as it's a reduction, I don't have as much concern. If it was an increase in rates, then you might have compiling of rate increases to make up the lag, and I would have maybe a little more concern there. But since it's a decrease or status quo ante, I have less of a concern, Mr. Chairman. I'm good to go.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seeing no other questions, I would move that we, with respect to items number 1 through 8, that we accept the tariff revisions for filing effective on the date stated in the respective filings. With respect to item number 9, I move that we approve the application and issue a renewable energy facility ID certification number, direct the applicant to establish a REC account with PJM Gas within 30 days of certification, and direct the applicant to notify the commission within 30 days if any of the information in the application is based should change. That applies to item number 10 as well, so 9 and 10. Finally, with respect to item number 11, I move that we note the filing. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motions are approved.
Mr. Chairman, on the administrative agenda, items number 12, 13, and 14 are revisions to the electricity supplier coordination tariffs of Baltimore Gas and Electric Company, the Delmarva Power and Light Company, and Potomac Electric Power Company. On these items for staff, we have David Hoppick and Lloyd Spivak, as well as Annette Garofalo. For BGE, Bev Sikora, and for the PHI companies, Matt Seegers and Jian Kim.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Hoppick.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. David Hoppick on behalf of staff, Baltimore Gas and Electric Company, Potomac Electric Power Company, and Delmarva Power and Light Company have all filed revisions to their supplier coordination tariffs. The revisions remove the requirement that retail electric suppliers in their respective service territories execute a PJM billing line item transfer for the utility's participation in the PJM capacity market as a price-responsive demand resource. PJM has revised its tariff such that there is no longer a need to execute a PJM billing line item transfer because PJM now pays price-responsive demand resource credits directly to the resource provider. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the tariff revisions as filed with an effective date of August 1st, 2021. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Council for the Exelon Utilities.
Good morning, Chairman Stanek and Commissioners. Beverly Sikora on behalf of BGE. We have no further comments other than to say that we appreciate staff's efforts on this one, and that we're available for questions.
Thank you. Mr. Seegers, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Matthew Seegers, appearing for Pepco and Delmarva. As stated by Ms. Sikora, we have nothing to add to staff's summary, but we are available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Do my colleagues have any questions on these items? Seeing none, I would move that with respect to items number 12, 13, and 14, that we accept the tariff provisions for filing with an effective date of August 1st, 2021. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, items number 15 and 16 are tariff revisions to the green rider rates of Delmarva Power and Light Company and Potomac Electric Power Company. On these items for staff, we have Nan Zhang and Lloyd Spivak. For the companies, Lance Schaefer, Matt Bonikowski, Doug McKeel, and Amanda Holden.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Zhang.
Good morning, Chairman Commissioners. Nan Zhang on behalf of staff. On July 1st, 2021, Delmarva and Pepco submitted proposed tariff revisions to their green rider rates to reflect up-to-date renewable energy credit market prices. The rider provides 100% renewable energy. It is voluntary for plug-in vehicle and residential plug-in vehicle rate schedules and mandatory for public charging plug-in vehicle rate schedule. The proposed rate is a 10.3% increase over the existing rate of 1.934 cents per kilowatt hour. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the tariff pages for filing with an effective date of August 1st, 2021. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, representatives from PHI.
Hello.
Oh, Mr. McKeel, we heard you for a moment and then you went on mute.
All right, I'll follow the rules here. It says unmute me. I hit that button. Doug Mikeel here on behalf of PHI. I have Ms. Holden here if there are any questions. Appreciate Nan's work on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. McKeel. Do my colleagues have questions on these two items? Seeing no questions, with respect to items number 15 and 16, I would move that we accept the tariff provisions for filing with an effective date of August 1st, 2021. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell,
Aye.
and Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motion is approved.
Item number 17 is a request from Washington Gas and Light Company for expedited authorization to add a Stride 2 transmission project. On this item for staff, we have Michael Dean, John Borkowski, Benjamin Baker, Jamie Smith, Afton Howard, Felix Patterson, and Nagusi Tesfaye. For the company, Aaron Stuber, Andrew Lawson, and John Dodge.
Thank you. Good morning to the staff team.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Nagusi Tesfaye on behalf of the staff. Item 17 is the Washington Gas Light Company's request for expedited authorization to add one strategic infrastructure development and enhancement known as Stride Transmission Project in Program 1 to its calendar year 2021 Stride project list for an estimated cost of $1,129,000. This project is approximately 1,400 feet of Stride eligible 8-inch steel transmission pipe on spur of Strip 13 in Montgomery County and estimated to be completed by the end of December 2021. Also, the company states that the construction start date for the transmission program 2, Strip 14-Valve 2, remote control valve, will be delayed until 2022 from the initial start date in 2020 due to the delays in easement. The estimated allocation of spend for replacement of remote control valve projects in transmission program 2 during the 2018 Stride 2 filing was $1.6 million, and the estimated underspend under this program in the calendar year 2021 will be $1.2 million by the end of 2021. Under the Stride statute codified at section 4-210 of the Public Utility Article, a gas company is authorized to submit a plan consisting of a schedule of planned work items to replace or upgrade parts of its gas system necessary to improve public safety or reliability. And after a detailed review of the projects and cost and the commission approval of the plan, the gas company is allowed to recover a portion of the estimated cost of the work prior to the next rate case through a surcharge on a customer bills. Once a plan is approved, because of the detailed review process, the commission discourages any change to the list of planned work items and will approve the addition of a new work item or project only if necessary to ensure public safety, and requires the gas company to present clear and compelling evidence that such project substitution is necessary and in the public interest. Staff has reviewed the provided exhibits and work papers associated with the WGL's proposed modification to the 2021 Stride project list, and as discussed in the staff comments, concluded that the Stride revenue requirement calculation are accurate. The residential surcharge was reduced from $0.12 to $0.08. This was a result of the Stride estimated revenue and expenditure being updated for actual amounts from January through May 2021. WGL in its initial filing did not provide exhibits and work papers illustrating the related stride revenue requirement and the stride surcharge impacts. The supporting exhibits and work papers that included the company's proposed surcharge were later provided to the staff from WGL and are included as attachment to staff comments. The company's monthly surcharge caps have slightly increased for all customer classes, with the exception of the residential heating, cooling customer class, which has remained the same at $2. The net stride surcharge for all customer classes decreased as a result of the stride estimated revenues and expenditures being updated for actual amount from January through May 2021. The proposed monthly surcharge will become effective August 1st, 2021 through December 2021. Staff recommends that the Commission approve WGS request to add Transmission Program 1, Strip 13 to its calendar year 2021 Stride 2 project list. The staff also recommends the company note the delay of the Transmission Program 2, Strip 14 Valve 2 Remote Control Valve project construction start date until 2022 from its initial plan in 2020. Staff further requests that WGL provide updated revenue requirement and the stride surcharge rate calculations in all future stride filing with the Commission in order to complete the record for the Commission and allow staff to provide a more complete analysis of future filings. Mr. Felix Patterson of the Accounting Investigation Division, Ms. Hafton Hour of the Telecommunication, Gas and Water Division, and myself from the Engineering Division are available to answer any questions you may have on this matter. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tesfaye, and to your team for the comprehensive buck sheet and review. We'll turn to counsel for Washington Gas Light.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. John Dodge appearing on behalf of Washington Gas. I'm joined this morning by two of my colleagues, Aaron Stuper, who is our Director of Corporate Engineering and in charge of our transmission programs. Also, Andrew Lawson, our Manager of Rates and Regulatory Affairs, who is our surcharge guru. Nothing to add at this time to staff's buck sheet. We're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll turn to my colleagues to inquire if they have questions regarding this item. Commissioner Herman.
Thank you. And staff or the company can answer this question. I was a little confused. Is this a request to add Strip 13 to the 2021 project list or a request to add Strip 13 to Stride in its entirety? Like was Strip 2, such as was Strip 13 in 2022 and then you're moving it and just doing a swap? That's my question. I was just a little unclear with the materials.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm happy to take a crack at that. This is a request to add a project to Transmission Program 1. And we wanted to note for the Commission that a previously approved transmission project has been delayed because of easement and permitting issues. And we had hoped we would get started on the construction in this calendar year 2021 on that prior approved project. But because of the aforementioned issues, we will not be able to start construction on that prior approved project until next year.
Okay, so all other things being equal, which of course I know they're not, but all other things being equal, this would result in a $1.12 million increase in the 5-year Stride plan.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as a follow-up, Mr. Tesfaye, you said the surcharge went down from 12 cents to 8 cents. But I suppose that's 2021. What happens in 2022 when that other project comes back in? Do we know?
I would refer the question about the surcharge to the Mr. Felix Patterson. I think he would explain that better.
Or the company may know. We have a surcharge guru with us. So.
That's very kind. Thanks, John. It shouldn't raise the surcharge overall because the company still has a budget, right? Other than it shouldn't raise the surcharge to a level than what it would have been otherwise because there's still a budget the company must adhere to. So I don't believe approval of this project on the 2021 list increases the overall stride budget cap for any 1 year or any 5-year period. So I don't believe it should result in an increase in the surcharge overall.
Yeah, the residential cap, and that's really what I'm speaking to, is $2, and that's a hard flat cap. But I guess what I'm trying to square in my mind is how do we add a $1.2 million project to stride and lower the surcharge with no increase? I'm struggling with that.
Yes, sir. And when when I put that together, I did a double and triple take on that because an annual revenue requirement is really a function of the average rate base during the period, and to the extent that more construction is done earlier in the year rather than later, your average rate base will be higher, and therefore your revenue requirement will be higher. When we did updating for actuals, the plant balances we're getting from the books were a little lower than we had anticipated in the early months, which would mean expenditures would be weighted a little later in the year, which lowers your rate base, your average rate base for the year. The other item, we made some assumptions on plant in service, so plant additions for the year. We got a couple of big chunks that came in during April and May, that bigger than I expected. And those plant additions, they feed into the calculation of deferred income taxes, and deferred income taxes are an offset to rate base. So those two items serve to lower the average rate base for the year.
Mr. Patterson,
counterintuitive, I know.
sorry. Mr. Patterson, do you have anything to add from accounting?
I believe he's right. Good morning, Commissioners. Felix Pass, on behalf of staff. I believe he's correct because what they did was they trued up. They had estimates from January through May, and when they came in with their actuals, that actually reduced what was in the rate base.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no additional questions, I will propose a motion.
Mr. Chairman?
Oh, sorry, Commissioner Linton, out of sight, out of mind, but you're in the center square now.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, yeah, good morning, everyone. Just a quick question for the company. I wanted to know what the status is of your efforts to acquire an easement from Montgomery County.
I will turn that over to Mr. Stuber.
Yes, that is currently underway, and the current timeline is we're projecting that we will have that easement somewhere around September of this year.
So in about 2 months.
Yeah.
2 to 3 months or so.
Yeah.
So is there a possibility then that both Strip 13 and Strip 14, the company will be able, at least, or permitted and able to work on them at the same time?
No, we deferred the Strip 14 RCV number 2 to 2022. Getting started that late in the year for that type of project is not what we like to do on the transmission system for that magnitude of a project.
Okay, so now I understand the cap is not going to go over 2, for at least for residential customers. And so we're not looking at having both projects going at the same time. That was my concern. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That's all I had. Thank you, Mr. Stuber.
Thank you. At this time, I will move that we approve the company's request to add transmission program number 1, strip 13 to its calendar year 2021 stride 2 project list. That we note the delay of the transmission program number 2, strip 14-valve 2 RCV project construction start date until 2022. And direct the company to provide updated revenue requirement and stride surcharge rate calculations in all future stride filings. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to vote aye, but I would note that my aye is without precedent to other requests to add to the stride project list. I think this one, when we're talking about the large sums of money in a 5-year stride program, but this one is relatively small. But I just wanted to be sure that the company and other gas companies with stride programs acknowledge and recognize that adding programs is not something that I take lightly. And so with that, I just wanted to make that known. So I would say aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Linton.
Mr. Chairman, I also vote aye, and I would echo the comments of Commissioner Herman.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
I'd like to affiliate myself with the remarks that this is non-precedential. So I would not like to hear later with other filings, well, you approved it here, you need to approve it there. And I want to make that very clear and associate myself with the remarks of the commissioner who first voted aye. Aye.
Well, that's a majority on that point, and I see Mr. Dodd shaking his head and acknowledging. Commissioner Richard.
I vote aye also, and I would also join since it's on the table.
Super majority, and I vote aye. The motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, item number 18 is a joint application to transfer the franchises of Provinces Utilities, Inc. and Green Ridge Utilities, Inc. to Maryland Water Service, Inc. On this item for staff, we have Catherine McErlane, and for the companies, David Bugelmans, Bryce Mendenhall, and Perry Brown.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. McErlane.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I am Catherine McErlane, Assistant Staff Counsel on behalf of staff. Item 19 is the joint application of Maryland Water Service Incorporated, Provinces Utilities Incorporated, and Green Ridge Utilities Incorporated, collectively the Corix companies, requesting the Commission approve the transfer of the franchises of Province Utilities, Inc. and Green Ridge Utilities, Inc. to Maryland Water Service, Inc. The Public Utilities Article Annotated Code of Maryland, Section 5-202 provides that without prior authorization of the Commission, a public service company may not assign, lease, or transfer a franchise or right under a franchise. PUA Section 5-104A provides that the Commission may authorize the acts described in PUA Section 5-202 if it finds the authorization is consistent with the public convenience and necessity. The applicants are wholly owned subsidiaries of Corix Regulated Utilities, Incorporated. Maryland Water Service, Incorporated is a combined water company and sewage disposal company. Green Ridge Utilities, Inc. and Provinces Utilities, Inc. are both water companies. Commission approval of this franchise transfer is in the public interest because the consolidation of the individual business units within the same jurisdiction would result in common ownership of the systems, which would enable the Corix companies to propose rate consolidation under PUA Section 4-307. Rate consolidation promotes economies of scale. Public convenience and necessity are satisfied by the ability to spread capital and other costs across a larger customer base, benefiting all customers from rate shock and a reduction in case filings. The applicants are not proposing rate changes in this filing. Even absent rate consolidation, Commission approval of this franchise transfer provides corporate maintenance efficiencies, including the filing of one Maryland annual report and promoting better access to capital and debt financing, which benefits the customer base. The applicants have complied with the requirements of COMAR 2007.04.04 by showing The financial condition of the Corks companies are available in the most recent annual reports currently on file with the Commission. Certified articles of incorporation of the Corks companies are included as Exhibit 1 to this filing. The franchises of the Corks companies are on file with the Commission. And the proposed agreement and plan of merger to be executed by the Corks companies after approval of the application are included as Exhibit 2 to the filing. Staff recommends the Commission approve the transfer of the franchises of Provence Utilities, Inc. and Green Ridge Utilities, Inc. to Maryland Water Service, Inc. pursuant to PUA Sections 5-104, 5-202, and COMAR 20.07.04.04. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, for your analysis. We'll turn to Council for the water utilities.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. David Bugelmans on behalf of the Corks companies. Also have with me today Bryce Mendenhall, the President of Mid-Atlantic Operations for the Corks companies, and Perry Brown, a Financial Planning and Analysis Manager for the Corks companies. We have no additions to staff's presentation today or its buck sheet, but we're here to answer any questions the Commissioners may have. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Bugelmans. Do my colleagues have questions on this item? Seeing none, I would move that we approve the joint application to transfer the franchises of Provence Utilities and Green Ridge Utilities to Maryland Water Service. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Lincoln.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye, the motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, the final item today, item number 19, is a Bel Air impoundment property tax rider proposed by Maryland American Water Company. On this item for staff, we have Mark Riley, Olivia Kirkendall, and Kenny Albert. And for the company, Scott Grace and Russell Frisbee.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Riley.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Mark Riley on behalf of staff. On July 1st, 2021, the Maryland American Water Company filed a revised tariff pages proposing a revision to the Bel Air impoundment property tax rider. On January 10th, 2019, the company filed notice that the Bel Air impoundment project was in service. The terms of the joint stipulation and settlement agreement in case 9487 requires the company to file an administrative proceeding requesting Commission approval of the property tax rider to recover property taxes associated with the impoundment facility. The impoundment property tax calculation is based on the property tax assessment for the annual period ending June 30, 2021. The total property tax assessment value for the impoundment area is $6,319,330. Based on the Hartford County property tax records for the period ending June 30, 2021, the combined county, highway, and state tax rate is 2.88%. Multiplying the assessment value of the impoundment area of $6.3 million by the property tax rate of 2.88% equals $182,306, the property taxes assessed on the impoundment area. The rider is a fixed rate charge that is billed to any residential or commercial metered customers using a private protection service, and 3, public fire protection service. These customers are billed on a monthly, quarterly, or semi-annual basis, and the rate is based on the connection size of the service lines. The impoundment facility's property tax costs decreased from $222,673 to $182,306, or a 18.1% decline from the company's prior year filing in July 2020. Under the proposed rate schedules, all customer classes will receive a reduction in the property tax rider surcharge. The impact of the new rider surcharge on a typical residential customer's monthly bill is a 1.4% reduction, or 78 cents, from $55.94 to $55.16. Staff determined the surcharge is appropriately calculated and reflects the property tax costs, and therefore recommends the commission accept the tariff pages for filing with an effective date of August 1st, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. We'll turn to council or the representative from the utility.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, commissioners. My name is Russell Frisbee. I'm appearing on behalf of the Maryland American Water Company. With me is Scott Grace from the company. We have nothing to add to the staff presentation, but we would like to thank staff for its effort. We are here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Frisbee. Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. I'm not sure who to ask this question to, so if anybody can help me with this, I'd appreciate it. Is there a true-up process that kind of corrects for estimated tax payments for this impoundment versus actual tax payments? Is there some true-up process at the end of the tax year? How does that work?
I'll turn it over to Mr. Grace, but that's essentially what happened, Commissioner, which is why we had the reduction. But Mr. Grace? He may be having problems. But what happened is the company received its bill from Hartford County. The initial estimate was based on the assumption that the property was in Bel Air and subject to Bel Air taxes. However, it turned out that it wasn't in Bel Air. It was subject to Hartford County taxes, which are less. So the company then did the true up, which resulted in the reduction, which will be obviously the customers will be reimbursed, and the company is processing that now.
Okay, so FY22, which is this new proposed filing rate for the impoundment, will collect the correct estimated tax payment based on Hartford County tax rates.
That's correct. Sorry, go ahead, you can.
But there's also going to be a refund of the over-collected taxes for FY 2021.
Actually, I'm just saying they will receive it in the form of a credit.
Okay, but they will get that overpayment back, albeit in the form of a credit.
That's correct, Commissioner.
All right, very good. Thank you.
This is Mark Riley on behalf of staff. The company is still required to file a true up to show their actual expenses compared to what was assessed.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I didn't mean to imply that wasn't going to happen or that wasn't the process. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no additional questions, I would move that we accept the tariff pages for filing with an effective date of August 1st, 2021. The vote begins with Commissioner Herman.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
And Commissioner Richard.
Aye.
I vote aye. The motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have nothing further on today's administrative meeting, so this meeting is now adjourned.